Welcome back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
I'm Sam.
Today we're having a look at some pre-made whiskey cocktails.
Alrighty, so yeah, this is we wanted to do this ages ago because we got this and then I started drinking it a bit and then you're like, hold on, don't drink it all. We need it for that video, and that was like before lockdown a while ago.
That was probably 2 years ago. We came up with this idea.
I think when we bought this,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
like 2 years.
The ideas have been
Like,
around for ages.
4 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, we've been wanting to try this. There's way more, and we will get to them eventually. But these are the ones we just thought we see the most, and we just want to grab them. So we've got there's 2 starward ones. The old fashioned. I think it's the coffee old fashioned.
Yep.
Whiskey cocktail, coffee old fashioned, by Starward Australian Distillery. That one's a weird one.
A Manhattan from Everly Bottling.
Yeah, so I've never heard of that one, but we saw that one, thought we'll grab it. It was cheap.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Slow and Low, which we see everywhere. And I honestly thought it was just like a rye and bought it, and then Kelly was like, "That's like a whiskey cocktail, right?" And I was like, "Well, guess we'll just use it for the video then," because
I think there's another one as well. I think this is just an urban, because it's a Manhattan.
No, it's called Slow. I'll explain it. So we'll start with this one. Basically, these are the same guys, Hochstadters that do the Saint Germain liqueur and stuff.
Yep.
Slow and Low is like basically a old fashioned. It was like it got killed off by Prohibition, but the whole deal with it is that it was like rye whiskey with some things added to it, and Slow and Low was like they called that because the process of like they used like rock candy and they would heat it up slowly to dissolve the candy, but without getting rid of the alcohol in the process. So Slow and Low, and added things in there like orange and stuff. So it's essentially a kind of like more convoluted way of doing an old fashioned, but
because there is another one as well, isn't there?
From the same brand. Yeah, I don't know, probably. But we'll give this one a try. I don't know. I feel like I actually prefer the pre-made, not Slow and Low, but like pre-made old fashions far more than the ones I make or buy. I don't know why. They're just like not my cocktail. At least the ones that you buy like pre-made, they seem to be more. Probably is like sacrilege to say, but it sounds like they taste sweeter and like more kind of commercial and like I don't know.
Cocktail.
They're just it's just more what I enjoy, but I don't really drink whiskey cocktails that much either anyway.
I don't necessarily mind them, it's just the effort I have to go to in order to make them at home. I have to go buy all the ingredients.
And if I do, I prefer other cocktails more. Like I'm going to make myself a Negroni, to be honest. Like
something that doesn't have whiskey because we drink it
easy and it's, exactly. That's actually
It
alright.
smells like oranges.
I like the taste of this one. Honestly, it's 42%, so it's still like a kick. That's higher than some bourbon, like literal bourbons that we're going to buy one today. A Tennessee one, it was 37%, that was a bourbon. This one's a cocktail and it's 42%. So honestly, I like this one.
It's got like the expressed orange.
Yeah, tastes like an old fashioned but stronger but like more cohesive. I think that's a problem. Sometimes, depending on who makes it, they add too much bitters, the sugar's not dissolved properly. Yeah. And then it's kind of like you're just drinking whiskey with bitters and it's not
pretty ordinary.
Very good. This one's good. I feel like they got the ratio down pretty well.
I also feel like I can pull other flavors. Like I think I'm getting cinnamon and things like that in there. Like other spices.
Yeah. It tastes like a Christmas cocktail. I like that. Don't mind that at all. Now we'll try the Starward one. So this is using just their base level Starward whiskey. They've got orange bitters and wattle seed syrup in it, so it's their new in brackets.
So a lot of
Australian
things.
Yeah, it's like an Australian take on the old fashioned. So it got a little bit of a difference to it. When I tried this, I did like it. I liked it more than like the old fashioned that we made on that video. Because we did try making a few different old fashions with different whiskies. And Starward was in that. Yeah, and I preferred this one over the ones that we made by like a long shot. Yeah. That should hopefully. Like, they know what they're doing. They're selling it like on huge amounts, so they probably got the recipe down a lot better than we did. But this one smells a lot more sweet, but like kind of caramelized. It's less herbal. Yeah. It smells kind of weird, to be honest.
Simply pour over ice, so we've done the right thing.
Ooh. A lot more more caramelization.
It's like caramelized onions.
I don't know.
Or is that our eyes?
Yes, it's probably our eyes. That's not good. That one's good, but yeah, a lot more of those caramel flavors. That wattle seed syrup, I assume it is, has kind of added some of that sweet kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know, like wattle's a very sweet like flour anyway, so I've not really had any wattle seed syrup on its own before, but I assume that that's what it is that's kind of giving that kind of caramelized extra sweetness. I don't know which one I prefer.
I reckon I prefer this.
I actually want to go back because they're quite
This is probably
similar.
this is more classic, old-fashioned, I would say. But I like the twist on this. Like you get more orange in that, as you said, the sweetness. And Starwood itself is a nice whiskey too.
Yeah, this is more full flavored. This one's got a different like. This has almost got like a Fanta orange kind of flavor
Like
to
the
it.
Sloan.
Yeah. And this is more like they've actually kind of like boiled some orange skins for some syrup or something like that. I don't know.
It actually smells like orange candy.
Yeah. And if that's like, I think that's meant to be like what the actual cocktail is anyway. Like it's boiling, not boiling, but melting candy slowly.
Yeah, as
candy
per
slowly.
a weird orange. It's like a
It's
artificial
different.
orange.
It tastes more artificial. Yeah. This one, a combination of two of my favorite things. Whiskey, obviously. Starwood whiskey.
Yep.
And Mr. Black. They have like kicked around and done absolute bits lately. Like, yeah, it's a lot. That's probably a lot. This is the coffee old fashioned. Now, Mr. Black is an Australian brand, but they have done so well that they are known internationally and have won awards and awards and now considered like one of the best, if not the best, like coffee liqueur, like to use if you're trying to level up a recipe, a cocktail recipe that uses Kahlua. If you want to level it up, add Mr. Black instead, kind of thing. Yep. They use like really high quality coffee beans, and it's what's it, cold brew. Yeah. So it's a different kind of like flavor profile. It's a bit more like mellow, less bitter, and more kind of chocolatey notes. Kind of normally you get out of it.
But it maintains a lot of coffee flavor itself, and
you get a lot of caffeine out of it as well. Now it's got orange bitters in it as well because it's meant to be some sort of old fashioned. 32%. I'm genuinely excited for this one.
It smells like an espresso with like a twinge, I should say, of orange zest on top.
Yeah. Well, I've made espresso martinis before where like I've added something, like I've added rum and then like I've spritzed like orange on top, that kind of thing.
Tastes like Mr. Black.
It does smell, honestly, like 90% like Mr. Black.
Do we have any Mr. Black?
No.
Because it tastes just like, I think the coffee's kind of overpowered this a bit too much. I mean, it's nice, it's very drinkable. But if you want to get that whiskey and orange, you're not going to find it all that much.
Getting a little bit of orange.
Yeah, a little bit of orange, no whiskey.
Pretty much no whiskey. I enjoy this. This is nice.
Yeah.
But the whiskey factor of this,
like,
I would be really hard pressed to call this a whiskey cocktail.
Yeah. This is a Mr. Black old fashioned. I wouldn't call this a Starwood Mr. Black old fashioned.
Yeah, the whiskey's lost.
Yeah, you can't find the whiskey. If someone said what other alcohol's in that, I wouldn't pick.
I wouldn't know.
I would not
honestly.
say whiskey.
There's something, like I can tell it's not just Mr. Black the alcohol.
But I'd say like a tea spirit, I'd say.
Maybe vodka or something, yeah. But no, pick this up, but more
nice.
Pick up Mr. Black and give it a try if you're into that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Have it on ice, mix it with, honestly, you can mix it with just milk on ice and it bang. Like it's such a dynamic liquor.
So both the Starwoods are 32% alcohol wise.
And it's 42, so it's all 10% upkick, which is a fair bit. This one I know nothing about. Manhattans I know about. Again, a pre-prohibition cocktail, similar-ish to old fashions and stuff, using rye traditionally. Again, not like really a cocktail I would particularly tend to kind of like gravitate towards. They're okay, they're just...
We're probably like the worst people to do this. Because even though we drink all this whiskey, I would never reach for a whiskey cocktail in my life. If I went to a bar, I would have a beer, and if it was a cocktail hour, I would go for something that doesn't have whiskey in it, because I don't appreciate these
No, it's just not. If we drink whiskey, we drink whiskey, not whiskey cocktails.
I would rather go for a whiskey on the rocks or a whiskey neat.
But in saying that, these, literally all of these so far, I've preferred over
anything we make
one
ourselves.
that we actually make ourselves and
Oh, for sure,
whiskey cocktails. And it beats fair few ones you actually pay for out of bars. Don't know why. It's probably like us having an unrefined whiskey cocktail palate kind of thing. It's just how we tend to go.
Should we go through price wise as well? These two are about $50.
Yeah, they were literally $50 each.
And I can't remember how much, 45 I think it was.
Yeah,
in the 40s for the slow one.
45, 50.
And this one was only 15.
This was 15 because it's tiny.
So I'm hoping that this is nice.
So Beverly Bottling, I know nothing about it. Basically, so it's Bullet Rye is the whiskey you use. Kochi Sweet Vermouth, Angostura bitters, water, and it says refrigerate after opening, consume within 3 days. Blah blah blah. 25% alcohol. So these guys are based in Fitzroy, which is like
I could throw
10
a golf
minutes.
ball.
Yeah, we could probably hit Fitzroy with this bottle of Fitzroy. The one thing, sorry for the stutter, I'm just thinking, the one thing different about this one is a Manhattan is a stirred drink, not a like on the rocks kind of drink. So you're meant to like put this in the freezer, drink it undiluted to get the best taste out of it. We are going to be just adding it to ice, trying to get all the water out of it so it dilutes as little as possible. That's just how it is. We didn't plan well enough, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'm just going to pour all of it honestly because we'll consume within 3 days. We're just going to drink it all tonight. We're just going to drink it all tonight, unless it's awful. But yeah, Manhattans, they're fine, but they're just...
This is where I get, look, I don't know the difference. Like you can say old fashioned Manhattan, it's like I don't know. I also don't really
I know, it's just because I'm used to making cocktails where I used to work. But
this smells, to me, it smells a lot more cocktaily.
It is, it's got vermouth and stuff in it, so it's more diluted, it's not predominantly
oranges,
Like it's more, it's like if you go from like a Negroni to an Americano, it's kind of the same thing as going from old fashioned to a Manhattan kind of thing. It's like a bit more diluted, it's got added more additions to it, it's normally easier drinking.
Is there proportions of how much alcohol in it?
No.
Because there is a lot of vermouth in that.
Yeah.
A lot of vermouth. Can't get
it
any
smells like just Rosso, like it smells like just sweet vermouth. It's like the predominant smell I'm getting out of it. Heavily, like it's seriously just sweet vermouth smelling.
I mean, for $15, you only get one glass worth, but it is drinkable. It would save you going out and buying all the ingredients. If you just want a glass of it, that's the only upside to it. There's no whiskey flavour, there's nothing whiskey-ish about it. It's kind of like the Mr. Black Starwood one. Just overpowered.
It's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's got a weird bitterness to it. It's really watery.
Yeah.
Like again, like we said, we didn't give it any help by putting it on ice instead of freezing it as is. But
yeah, maybe freezing it would hide
it. Would help. It would help that it's quite watery, but I don't think it would stop you from seeing it altogether.
No.
It's 25%, so it's far less alcohol. The flavor profile's alright. Like the vermouth is nice. Like I don't mind the base flavor, but there's a weird bitterness and it's way too watery.
Yeah.
When I have had Manhattans, they've been made by good, cocktail makers, and they've been
that actually know what they're doing.
Like it's a lot more potent. This tastes quite watered down.
I reckon in another video we should revisit these and try and remake them.
Yeah.
Using our own.
Well, I reckon we do another video of this because there's way more that we saw at Dan's. And I reckon we buy another 4, and then we'll name our 2 favourites out of this one, this lineup, and 2 favourites out of that one, and then we'll try and recreate those ones.
Make them better.
Because can't be bothered making a bad version of Manhattan.
Well, I mean, should we then sort these from best to worst?
Yes, and for me, it literally is just this. I like this one a lot, but it's not really whiskey.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, in terms of a cocktail, I would go that.
Me too.
But in terms of like a whiskey cocktail, I would leave it the same.
That's exactly. I like this a lot. I like this probably the most by a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
It's just coffee.
It's like 85% just Mr. Black.
Yeah.
So
we'll leave it in this order.
Leave it as
So
is.
These two will move on.
Yeah.
When we go to
another
rerun
run,
them. Yeah.
get some more. We might even do a third run. We'll see how many we can find, how many available. If you live in, Australia, Victoria, and there are ones that you kind of
I'm gonna start drinking the Mr.
that you kind of reach for, you found, and you're like, damn, this is really good.
Mm.
Surprisingly, because I feel like they're things that they don't fly off the shelf. These pre-made, especially whiskey cocktails, I feel like they sit there for a while. If you found ones that you enjoy, leave a comment below. Let us know, especially if you're Australia/Victoria, just because the likelihood of us being able to find it is much greater that way. And we'll try and get those ones. There's another Starwood one I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Manhattan? I
think
feel
so.
like it was the Manhattan. I do want to try that one because that one.
There was also a Glenfiddich old fashioned, I think.
I have no idea what brand that was, but they were using some pretty well-known whiskies.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, if you like this episode of Everything Whiskey, leave us a like. If you want to see future episodes from us, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, we'll see you next one. Cheers.